with you guys. We're going to try to make you guys, and we're going to continue to do these series where we're going to go through leadership, branding, marketing, sales, basically anything that you guys can add to your arsenal, whether it's individually for your team. Let's say you're managing someone at a company or organization, or for an actual company that you're building, you're about to build, or you just want to continue to grow. So we're going to go through all these different sales processes. Yes, Brett just asked, will it be recorded? It is recording live. And once the actual webinar is done, it usually takes about 30 minutes to an hour for it to upload onto the cloud. We're going to be emailing it to everyone so you guys can review. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and get started on the process and break down how you guys can become masters at sales. And I want you guys just take notes. We're going to do a Q&A over about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how long going through everything here takes. So if you guys have any questions throughout this process, be more than welcome to put it into the chat, and or if it's something at the end, you can go ahead and put it there and we can answer those and break down in detail. So let's go ahead and take a look at everything and go through how to master sales. Right now, to start off, guys, this is a blueprint of a process that I've used to, one, as a sales rep, close, my first year, I typically closed around 30 to 40%. And I went through a lot of adversity. I was put in a corner where I had no choice other than to succeed. And what happened is it led me to discover, I would say, talents that I had in myself that maybe I didn't realize I had, but also it forced me to learn the true psychology of how to master sales and how to win, how to close more deals. It helped me to understand psychology, and it absolutely exploded my personal sales. I closed over 74% for 2 years straight. And I built an organization that's done over 50 million in sales in the past few years. And we have all these processes implemented and catered towards the solar business. But what's cool about these processes is you guys can implement all of these things into your specific industry, business, or niches, and obviously adjust it. Now, the details of it and the verbiage and everything like that, you guys are going to be able to really take your expertise for what you do and apply it to this sales method. And then obviously any variations and stuff like that, we'll answer questions at the end so I can go through everything for you guys. So let's start through, okay? So what we're going to cover today is the 7-step process, all right? That's going to first be breaking preoccupation, building rapport with the customer, discovery, pre-frame and expectations, the actual pitch, the close, and then actually getting referrals and buttoning up the deal, all right? And before we get into the actual sales process, we're going to break down, and I'm going to kind of give you guys skill sets and processes and systems that you guys can implement to not only get more appointments, but to get better quality appointments. So before you even improve your sales skills, your sales process, your sales psychology, you can actually get better quality appointments, which ultimately set the stage for you to actually close at a much higher level, right? So let's get started. Okay, setting appointments and qualifying. So I can just give you from experience, I've set thousands of appointments, and our reps have set tens and tens of thousands of appointments. And what's cool is now, at the beginning, they were just calling from cell phones. Now we have real data to back up all of these different things that I'm going to go through. And every one of those calls are pre-recorded, so we can actually go back and train our sales reps and improve the quality of our process, all right? So when you're looking at appointments, right, no matter if you guys are just starting your sales job, your sales career, or you guys have been doing this for 20 years, quality is everything. I talk to entrepreneurs all the time, and they're like, Grant, should we, kind of lower our prices to start? Should we kind of take on a couple other clients, even though they're really not the right fit, just to kind of start making money? And I always say is operate, speak, walk, talk, everything you can imagine, like you are the top of the top in sales. If you guys run a business, you have to operate. Let's say you do 1 million in revenue now and you want to do 10. You need to walk, talk, and present yourself like a company that's doing 10x what you're currently doing. The reason why I say this, and before I get into these details, is the way that you come across is going to teach the consumer, one, who is your brand? What is the quality of your company? And two, how much should they respect you? You are teaching them how to feel. You are teaching them ultimately how to treat you. Okay. If you learn to set quality, incredible appointments, what will happen is you will be able to close more deals and at a higher level because you have already set the stage for yourself. Or if you have appointment setters, your appointment setters have set the stage for you to look the right way, to have the credibility and the respect that you need to close. Okay, before I break down these details, let me give you an example, right? For this webinar, it's just going to be me. But let's say somebody was jumping on this workshop right now that was going to be a speaker, but you guys have never heard of them. Okay. Let's say right now I said, all right, guys, we got this guy, John, jumping on. He's going to break down how to set appointments. I've known John for a long time. He's a nice guy. And he starts just going off on everything. Now, it's not that you would be looking for every mistake or you just wouldn't like John, but you wouldn't know who this person is. There's no credibility. You've never heard of them. You've never really seen them on social media. Now, he may have some value. He may have some information that could really help you, but you're going to kind of take everything with a grain of salt because you don't know this guy. You don't know how successful he is. So let's backtrack. Let's say instead of just saying, hey guys, here's this John guy, I go, hey guys, this is John Smith. This guy has built a over $100 million company. He's done hundreds of millions of dollars in sales transactions. And I know you guys love my content. You listen to podcasts, you do all these different things. This person taught me everything and is probably the absolute best salesperson I have ever been around in my entire life. Write down absolutely everything that he talks about because it will literally change your life. So without further ado, this is John Smith. So think about the only difference was the setup, the way that I presented this next person that was going to speak. Okay, that's my example to you as the way that you're being perceived, whether it's in real life or it's an appointment, is going to set the stage for how serious they're going to take you, how much credibility you have, and ultimately how much they're actually going to respect you. This is everything, not just in sales, but in business, the way you communicate, the way you come across, your logos, your branding. That's a whole different side of things. But when it comes to appointments, you have to come across the right way. Okay. Now, a trick that I always say to my sales reps is get into the mindset that you have so many appointments, that you're working with so many people that you do not even know if you have enough time to even talk to these people. Okay. You cannot be attached to having to get an appointment or having to get a deal. They will smell it. They will sense the hesitancy. They will sense the neediness. You have to walk and talk like you've done this a million times and it's super easy and it's no big deal. Okay. That is the key. All right. Quality is king. It is everything. Do not waste your time practicing with people who cannot buy from you. Okay. So right now, what I want you guys to do is write down one, who is your customer and what qualifiers do they need to be able to buy from you? Okay. Let me give an example. For our solar company, we're in residential solar sales. I'll tell you ours. One, I don't care how nice you are. You have to, one, live in one of the states that we service. That's number one. Two, you would have to own the property, meaning your name is on the deed of the home. Okay, not renting, not leasing, not your roommate owns it. You have to own it. Three, you have to have credit over 650 with no bankruptcies. And four, all decision makers have to be present on the appointment. So our sales force is trained that we do not set one appointment. We don't answer questions. We don't go to their house. We don't jump on a Zoom call. We don't do anything unless those four criteria are met. Do not waste your time. So what I want you guys to do, and you probably know this, so this should be fast, write down your qualifiers, and do not set another appointment unless all of those qualifiers are met. Nothing is worse than wasting energy on people that you cannot actually help. Okay. Next, simplicity and value wins. Okay. When you're scheduling an appointment, the biggest mistake that sales reps make, and what's cool is we have data for this. For us, okay, we get warm leads, so either we purchase or we generate through funnels, through marketing, through our website, through whatever, and we call and schedule these appointments. We have data that shows that any set, meaning a call of, let's say, you calling a potential customer to schedule an appointment, that is over 4.5 minutes, has a 85% chance of no showing. So if it was over 4.5 minutes, there's almost a 90% chance that the customer will not show up, which is interesting because, normal logic goes, well, Grant, if I build a bunch of rapport and I make them like me and I talk a ton about the product and service and I connect with them and we kind of chop it up and become friends, logically you would think, well, of course more people are going to show up. Of course more people are going to buy from you. It was interesting. It wasn't. Short and sweet and always have them wanting more. If you guys had ever had, I'm assuming we're all adults here, everyone's dated someone. Let's say you have a date at 7 o'clock and it's 1 o'clock and you've already had the date scheduled. Texting back and forth with the person you're going to date with about you're eating Chick-fil-A and you're about to go here and you just got out of this meeting all day long for 7 hours straight is not going to make them look forward to seeing you. It's the same thing with an appointment. You need to be simplistic. You need to imply value and you need to set the expectations and qualify the customer and set it for as soon as possible. They can tell when you do this a lot. No different than you can tell when someone's trying to be overly nice or kiss your ass a little bit and try to kind of make you like them a little bit more and convince them a little bit more. They pick up on it. And they go, you can tell they need the business. You can tell they haven't really been doing this. Okay. You have to kind of say it like, well, look, the person wanted to set appointments, so I'm just going to make sure they're good and who cares? And then what happens is they respond in that way, and you have a pitch rate that's extremely high. So when I look at the solar industry, for example, and this is how we specifically write these scripts and processes, and I'm going to give you an example of actually a company that I've worked with that we 4 or 5x their sales volume by just literally changing the structure of their call scripts and their appointments. And the traditional pitch percentage in the solar industry is about 25 to 30%. For the last 4 years, our pitch percentage for our reps is anywhere between 50 to 60%, depending on the rep. And it's through these methods. Okay. Lastly, before I give you guys an example, you are not selling, when you're setting appointments, you are not selling your product, you are selling an appointment. If you cannot get an appointment, you cannot get a deal, right? If it's on the spot, then you got to sell them on why they should listen to you for a short second. You are selling the appointment. It is important to not get ahead of yourself, okay? Lastly, scripts and processes are key. For a lot of you guys, y'all are A-type personalities. You sound incredible. You're smooth, you're likable, you're well-spoken. And a lot of us just kind of shoot from the hip. But the problem is there's no process and systems and data to really give us an idea of how well we're actually doing. You need to have scripts, systems, and processes for everything. So if you guys don't right now, I'm going to walk you guys through how to write this in the right way. And we need to make sure that you guys implement this by Monday. Okay. So let's break this down. Okay. So I was working with a tech company and I don't do, we can't see Grant screen. 1 second. 1 second. I'll make sure it's right. 1 second, guys. Let me make sure this is on here. Okay. Let me put this back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so this was a sales script of a difference between a tech company that I worked with. Okay, so they're based out of Southern California, and their founder was from Australia, had already taken a company public. And the specific company, they had this technology that helped companies increase their accounts receivables. So let's say companies and customers still owed people money. They had basically created AI-driven software that contacts these people on a periodic basis and has data and tracking and estimates to know when they're going to actually pay and to increase the profitability so they can get paid and they can get all of these things a lot more often. Okay. Now, what's important here is he had an unbelievable product. The first time I looked at their website, I went, man, this is incredible. I saw somewhere that he had took a company public, and I said, man, you've taken a company public? He goes, yeah. And I go, damn. I look on the website, there's all this stuff about AI. But then when I looked at all of his questions and I had a conversation about his business, he didn't mention AI once. And what I told him was, you have an incredible company, but you're not marketing it and presenting it in a way that's exciting to the customer. I said, look, like, you're a great entrepreneur, but man, nobody cares about debt collection. That's boring. Nobody cares about accounts receivable. And no one really cares about having to pay you a lot of money. No one wants to do that. People want to make money. They want simplicity. They want basics. They want all of these things. So I said, well, what is your current script now? And this was a pretty much a basically rough estimate of what it was. And he just said, hey, this is John with blank. I represent blank, which is an accounts receivable technology company that helps businesses collect debt. We're actually offering free demos right now to see if it's a good fit. When are you available for 30-minute Zoom this week? Okay. So that was how he's doing it. So he had this sales guy calling all these companies and he goes, Grant, we should be getting signups all day. He can barely set 2 to 3 appointments or demos a week. And even then, most of them don't sign up. And I said, well, your product's amazing, but the way that you're asking questions and the way that you're coming across here is completely wrong. So the first thing is when you're scheduling an appointment, even if it's a warm lead, you got to think about is these people in that moment that they received this call were not thinking about you. Now, I want you guys to, when you're writing this down in your notes, and you've already figured out who's your customer, what are the qualifiers, I want you to be thinking about what is the likely current state of mind or psychology that your customer is in right now. Okay. So if you work in tech sales and you're calling and scheduling warm leads, and the companies that you work with are mid-market businesses, whatever, and you're calling them from anywhere between 9 a.m. to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where are these people likely at? They could be working from home. They could have just got out of a meeting. They could be at the office. They could have just got off a call. They could have just got a meeting with their boss. So they're kind of discombobulated. They don't really have time from it. They're dealing with a lot of things. Okay. The more insight you have on what your customer is feeling and experiencing, the better insight that you're going to get onto how to actually communicate with them the right way. Okay. So this is how we kind of reword it. It's a little shorter version of it, but I want to give you guys an example. Okay. When it comes to setting appointments, trigger words are key. They're only going to hear and process things that get them excited and then stimulate their brain. Okay. So for him, I said, man, no one cares about accounts receivable, but AI sounds cool. And he goes, oh, that's true. And I said, Americans are obsessed with this AI boom. And VCs, customers, anytime you hear AI, you're like, whoa, tell me about it. Okay, next is making money. Okay, like, does it make sense to pay people for products and services? Of course, we all do this. But you need to hear what's in it for you, right? So we went from this short one and open-ended and hoping that they just basically do nothing else so they'll have time to talk to us. Instead, went, hey, this is John with blank, one of the fastest growing AI account receivable platforms in the United States. And the only reason I'm reaching out is because we're actually partnering up with accounting firms in Southern California. with a simplistic revenue share model, they can essentially add anywhere between $5,000 to $25,000 a month in accounts receivables to the firm, while also helping your clients become more profitable as well. Okay. Now we're already working with about 25 firms in Southern California, but we're looking to add 1 to 2 in the first quarter of this year. Main reason for the call, I don't want to waste any of your time. I just want to set up a quick 15 to 25-minute Zoom meeting just to see if there's any synergies. I've actually got 2 spots open this week. I got Tuesday and Thursday open. Which one has more availability for you guys? Okay, so this is what's important. The first time I allowed them to talk was them choosing which day they were most available. Okay, so what did the first thing do? Trigger word that stimulates their brain and gets their attention. Next, I established credibility. We're one of the fastest growing. We're working with all these different type of companies. Lastly, what is in it for you? They're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. $25,000 makes me happy. Okay, well, what is this? Okay, next, controlling the thought process. If you have mutual rapport and respect and a focused listener, if I start talking to you guys about closing next, what are all your brains going to start thinking about? Closing. If I start talking about marketing, what are you likely going to start thinking about if you're paying attention intently right now? Marketing. Okay, so if I'm giving you 2 options, your brain is likely going to flash those 2 options in your head. Okay, so I have Tuesday or Thursday this week. Which one works best for you, John? I have Thursday works best, like perfect. On Thursday, I got 2 availabilities. I got 11 a.m. Central or 3:30 Central. Which one works best for you? 3:30, perfect. Okay. Now, once I've set that appointment, I'm going into my qualifiers. Okay. So for us in solar, what's going to happen here is, for example, in solar, we set that appointment. I'm kind of shifting back to solar to give you our example. Is I'd go perfect. Qualifying for solar is super simple. You just got to own the property, have decent credit over 650. You own the home, correct? And they go, yeah, we own the home. They go, perfect. What was your credit score the last time you checked? Okay. I didn't say, and is your credit over 650? It's going to give them a lot. It's going to be a lot easier for them to lie there. So instead of saying, is it good? And they say, yeah, it should be fine. I say, what was your credit score the last time they checked? They go 725. I go, perfect. Do you have a spouse? The reason why I ask, we want everyone on just so we can answer everybody's question. Yes, I do. Perfect. Can they jump on the 3:30 call? Perfect. Okay. So you pique their interest, you set the appointment, you qualify them to make sure you're not wasting your time. And now you're going to set expectations. Okay. For us in solar, what we would transition to next is I'd say, perfect, John. So the appointment's going to only take about 15 to 25 minutes to see if solar is going to be a good fit for the property. If it is, of course, we'll get you set up that day, which will only take another 15, 20 minutes. But if it doesn't work, what's cool is that it doesn't matter. It's no big deal. And then lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and send a confirmation text and email. What I want you to do is reply to that text and email with a picture or PDF of utility bill, just so we can fast track the design process. Does that sound good with you? Perfect. Okay, if you have any questions in the meantime, write them down. I look forward to talking to you and your spouse today at 3:30. Okay, so what am I doing there? I'm setting the stage for what to expect in the meeting, what is going to happen, and what's going to happen if it makes sense and it works, and what's gonna happen if it doesn't. So before we've even had the appointment, they view me as an expert. They view you as someone that is credible. They view you as someone that is respecting their time and that has done this before. But you also just had a mutual agreement that they're going to sign up if it makes sense. You and I know if you have a great product and service and this is an actual qualified customer, there's a great chance it is going to make sense, which is going to increase your sales. Okay, this is huge, huge. Okay, so since they implemented this, their sales, their appointments, and their reoccurring revenue went through the roof. Their sales rep was great. He just wasn't qualifying and setting proper appointments. Their outreach just wasn't good. So I want you guys, and this is just a base template, and obviously you went through this, and we're going to send you guys the recording and everything, but it's important to Have a set written process that you guys can implement into your business, your product, your service that is scalable. Everyone, guys, can sell when they feel good. Everybody can do the right things when you got momentum, when you have a great company, but it is very difficult when you wake up that one Tuesday and you're like, man, I just don't feel like doing it today. Or maybe you went out and you had, saw friends or whatever the case may be, and you just don't have the same energy you usually do. Systems scale. They're predictable. You know how the consumer and the customer is going to react, and you can control the outcome to create the desire that you want. Okay. So let's go ahead into the next step. Okay. Breaking preoccupation, right? Breaking preoccupation is huge. If you guys want to get the actual version of the person or company or group that you're communicating with. Okay. Everyone here, I assume, has bought something, but I'm going to use an example of has likely bought a car. Think about when you were going to the dealership. You typically would have kind of a preset plan. Let's say you're going with your girlfriend, your dad, your mom, your brother, your friend. You're like, all right, let's look. We probably don't want to do it. We want to get that one at the other place, but let's just see what price they'd give us. Or, we're not trying to get something for a couple months, but let's just take a look and see what they have. Okay. You have a set preoccupation. Or if you're walking in the mall and you just got to pick up something real quick, a Christmas gift, a birthday gift, or maybe just a new pair of jeans. And those people in the kiosk are like, hey, excuse me. Hey, excuse me. And they're trying to give you flyers. You're like, no, 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 I'm fine. You walk in the store. Hey, sir. Hey, welcome to whatever. Can I help you? You go, oh, no, 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 I'm fine. Thank you. I appreciate it. You may have needed help and you may have liked their product, but you had a preoccupational state of this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to expect. And I don't want them to try to sell me because I don't know these people and I need to save money. I got this. I got this. I don't want any of that. So what it is it's a protective measure that people do to protect themselves. This is common. Okay. What people, this is, or excuse me, signs that you guys will get and things that people will say when they're trying to protect themselves is, Grant, I'm just letting you know, man. It seems like you just before we get started, it seems like you know what you're doing. It's a great company. We're not looking to go solar till probably next year. We just moved in. We don't even have, we're trying to get settled. We just want to get more information. Okay. That's a smokescreen objection, right? It's them protecting themselves. Hey guys, I'm just letting you know, we're getting 3 to 4 quotes and we're not making any decisions today. Hey guys, I'm letting you know I never make decisions on the first day. I only want to get information and then go from there. Okay. These are things that people do to protect themselves. Every sales rep in America, except for all of us, is going to start selling in that moment. They're going to go, oh, John, I completely understand. But keep in mind, we're one of the fastest growing firms in the industry. Or keep in mind that we have these great sales right now that may change your mind. Usually Chevys are blah, 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 and they just sell and they throw up on the customer. The trick here is to reply to what they mean, not what they're saying. What they're saying is, hey guys, I always say yes to stuff and sign up on the first day. And I don't want anybody to take advantage of me. No offense, I don't know you yet. So please don't try to sell me anything. I want to make the decision on my own and I want to cop out just in case I don't want this. That's what they're meaning. They said they don't make decisions same day. Yeah, to products they don't like. But we're going to have a great product and service and offering that's going to make sense for them to move forward that day or on the timetable that makes sense for your business. Okay. So when they do these things, I want you to just kind of not care. Kind of act like, shut up. He's annoying. He always does that stuff. Whatever. I want you to be so nonchalant and relaxed that it throws them off. It's like a curveball. So let me give you an example. They say that stuff at the beginning. Hey, I'm letting you know, we're not doing anything till next quarter. We've already been in talks here and there, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You just go, cool. Yeah, it sounds good. And then just keep going. Or, hey, Grant, if you guys can't do this price and this price and this price, we're not moving forward today. Instead of selling, just go, cool. Yeah, that'd be a great price. Okay. You want to kind of like shock them, right? Let's say they go, hey, Grant, I'm just letting you know, we never do things same day. Like, cool, yeah, that actually might work out great because like I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we don't even know if this works for the home yet. So we'll take a look at that, and if we can help you, cool. But if not, it's all good. Okay, do you see my vibe? And y'all see my tonality there, the difference. I want you to be so detached from the outcome, not that you don't care, but you don't need anything. You're not there to convince them. If they set an appointment with you, guys, they're interested. They're there for a reason. As long as you qualified them and did the right things, then guys, they're there for a reason. They didn't drive to the car dealership to just waste an hour of their day. They're there for a reason. They didn't set an appointment to look at your software because they like setting up random meetings with random tech companies. They did it for a reason. So you need to get out of your way and just be relaxed. If I was in person, this would be my body language. I would just have my arm up and I'd be like, yeah, that's cool, guys. That sounds great. Well, that actually might work out great because first I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here about signing up and stuff. We want to first analyze if there's synergies and if this is a good fit for both your company and ours. But anyways, and then you transition right into the next thing. When you do this, it's going to confuse them. They're going to drop their guard and they're going to relax. What you're going to see, sometimes this happens very quickly. Sometimes this takes 15, 20, 30 minutes. But you're going to finally see their guard drop. Okay. Signs of body language and reactions that you guys are going to see to kind of help you know that their body language drop is one, they're not tense. If they walk in and they're like this, it's a sign that they're very skeptical and they don't trust you. Okay. If they're like very closed off, their legs are crossed, their arms are kind of like this, they're fidgeting a lot. It's a sign that they're hesitant and they're worried about everything. What I would recommend is mirror their tone, mirror their body language. Picture you're a giant, enormous mirror that's right in front of them where they're just literally looking at the exact version of themselves. Now, that doesn't mean that they say they like the Cowboys and you lie and you say you like the Cowboys. Never lie. We don't need to. You don't even need to act like them. You just need to be interested in them, interested in their business. Not trying to be interesting, not trying to sell, not trying to be cool, but just be so just comfortable in your skin that it's okay that not everyone's like you, but that's super interesting. Okay, if they say that they're from Dallas, like, oh, you guys sports fans? I go, oh yeah, we love the Cowboys. You go, really? It must be tough to be a Cowboy fan. I'm a Packer fan, so I'm used to winning. I'm not like you guys. You could talk mess to them, you could joke around with them, but you're showing that you're a different version of them. You just have your own things that you like. If they don't say, no, I'm not really a sports guy, you go, really? I've always loved sports, but what have you been into? Well, I'm really into this. I'm an avid reader. Really? What type of books do you guys read? Oh, yeah, I love reading. So just connect with them. You don't need to be just like them. You just need to show that you're more like them than they pictured. That is the key. You operate and you vibrate at the highest level when you are your most authentic self. They can tell when it's the real version of you. Don't have a sales voice. Don't sound like a customer service agent. Don't be so overly friendly that they can tell you're trying to get something out of them. Just act like you're going to a cousin's house, a family's house, a friend's house, and just not care. I'll give you a last example. We'll transition to the next section. My reps, because a lot of times we close pretty much everything over the phone and over Zoom. But when we used to sell in person at people's homes, I had a couple rules. So number one, never compliment their house when you walk in. It would be common logic to when you go to someone's house, go, wow, this is such a beautiful house. I love your yard. I love this. But that's stuff that people that you're just meeting for the first time or people that are trying to get you to like them do. The first thing they notice that is, of course, they're doing that. He's a salesman. He's trying to get me to buy something. But if you've been to your friend's house 100 times, you're not going to go start bragging to them about how nice their house is and trying to make them like you. She's like, what's up, man? You want a beer? Yeah, yeah, beer sounds good. You want to go in the backyard? Yeah, that's cool. That's how you're gonna act. So be professional, but be kind of so relaxed and normal that their subconscious and their energy reacts in a way that they're used to feeling that type of energy, but with people that they trust and that they like. Okay. So one, don't sit there and compliment them over and over and over again. Two, take control of the situation, but be respectful. One thing I would do is I'd say, hey, I'm here for the 4 o'clock appointment. Is it cool if I come on in? And he goes, yeah, that sounds great. Right? Then first thing I would do is I'd assess the home because it was in home sales, and I'd go, hey, is the kitchen table cool? And he goes, yeah, that's great. And I said, hey, I remember you said you had a wife, right? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, why don't you go get her? I'll just go ahead and set up right here. He goes, oh, perfect. Sounds good. So very indirectly, I'm already setting myself up. Even though this isn't my house, I'm taking control of the situation and they're listening and they're following. I'm subconsciously teaching them that I am in control. But I'm also communicating in a way that's just super relaxed. They come back in, I'm just as relaxed and calm as can be, and I'm building rapport. Okay, another trick before we transition into discovery and pre-frame and everything else is if you guys are in B2C, B2B, whatever, and they ask if you want water, always say yes. If you guys are at a hotel, hey, can I get you some water while you wait? That'd be great. Thank you. Think about this. When you have guests over, you have friends over, you have family over, what do you typically do? You serve them, you give them drinks, you give them food, you do all these things. Who do you make things for? Who do you get things for? People you like, love, and respect. People love to help people, but most people go, no, it's fine. Thank you. But it shows that you respect yourself and there's a mutual relationship and respect of trust when someone does a favor for someone else. So if they ask you, say, yeah, water would be great. Thank you. And make them go get you water. Okay. So think about this. My tone's relaxed. They're associating me with people and experiences that they trust and they like and they love. So naturally, their guard is a little bit more relaxed. And you're just calm as can be. You see how I'm sitting right here? I'm kind of laid back in my chair if I have my hands down like this, or if I have my hands up, I'm just calm and collected, very nonchalant. I'm not there to get anything. This is just another appointment, and I'm happy to help them. Okay. Now you're going to get the authentic, real version of themselves. This is where it gets easy because you know who you're dealing with. You don't have to play poker. You don't have to read minds. You don't have to guess what their problems are and what they're trying to actually get. Okay. Next is discovery. Okay. So I've already on breaking preoccupation. I've gone into discovery, but right before we get into discovery, I want you to build a little light rapport. Okay, this is kind of going to be in the breaking preoccupation into transition into discovery. So let's say I'm going to give you the example of solar, or I could say we're in a boardroom. Let's say I came in. I would first do something very short. The mistake that people make is, and this is what I used to do, is I'm from Texas, I'm a Southern gentleman. I would sell off of my personality. And it worked, but it worked 30% of the time, not 74% of the time. When I sold off of credibility and respect, my deal flow went through the roof. My closing percentage, my respect. I dealt with less headaches, bad because I didn't deal with that as much because they respected they respected the company, they respected the product, they respected doing business with me. So build rapport, but quickly. So usually a good start is, let's say you guys are in Kansas City doing business. I go, yeah, so obviously, you guys are in Kansas City. Are you guys from here originally, or where are you guys from? Oh yeah, and let's say one of the guys, and his name's Mike. Oh yeah, man, I've been out here my whole life. Grew up here, went to University of Kansas, and then after that moved back to KC. Like nice, nice. How do you guys like it? Are you thinking you want to stay out here long term? No, I've heard it's grown so much. You guys Chiefs fans? Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, this is only the second time I've been out here, and oddly, we've been doing business here for 5 years, but because of Zoom, I just never needed to come out here. And they go, Grant, where are you from? Texas, right? What part? Houston. Oh, I love Houston. Just natural rapport. Okay. Don't do it to be liked. Do it to understand who they are. Be a normal human. Stop trying to get stuff out of everyone and just be relaxed. And you're going to notice their body language is relaxed, they're calm, and it just comes across very simplistic and easy. Now, I'm going to take rapport. And the reason why I put discovery right here is because discovery needs to flow right out of rapport. So let's say they asked about, they were talking about Houston, and it's got great food and this, and they go, oh yeah, I love it. But anyways, with this whole solar thing, what got you guys interested in this thing? Or let's say it's something related to technology or changing their CRM. I'd go, anyways, guys, with this whole tech thing, I know you guys said that you've had Hubstaff for 5 years now. What's made you guys want to look at like maybe another option? Okay, now did you hear my tonality? I was curious. I kind of don't understand why they're doing it. I'm not trying to convince them why our product's good. I'm like, why? Why are we here? When I ask an open-ended question that's kind of curious, it's vague, and it doesn't come across like I have a motive, I'm almost playing a little bit dumber than my mark here. They kind of just spill the beans. But if I come across and pay attention to my tone here, because listen, I'm gonna do the first way one more time, and I'm gonna do a way that would cause them to kind of shelter or hide their intentions and their actual needs that they need met. Instead of me, like the good way is, yeah, like what, anyways, with this whole solar thing, like what got you guys interested even looking at something different? With this whole tech thing, what made you guys want to look into potentially switching CRMs? I mean, that's a lot of work to do something like that. Okay, now that's open-ended, it's relaxed. Now, what most sales reps do is, okay, perfect, guys. So what's causing you guys to want to switch CRMs? So guys, what got you interested in solar? Okay, do you hear my tone? I'm serious. My body language is more tense. What does that do? They first thing they're going, why are they asking me that? They're going to be a little hesitant. So when you ask like that, you get answers like, well, we're just looking to see what the options are out there. Well, we've just had this one, so we want to see if there's a better fit for the company. Well, we wanted to learn more about solar. All of these fake answers tell you nothing. They're confusing. You don't even know why they're actually looking at your product and service. And so when you ask it in the first way, you're like, man, why are you guys even looking at solar? Like, what made you want to even look into it? They give you a very natural, non-calculated answer, which will be something like, well, to be honest, Grant, we didn't even want solar. We just kept seeing it in the area. And you know how those phones work. You start talking about something, next thing you know, you see an ad, and I'm scrolling late at night, and I just clicked it, and next thing you know, I get a million calls and said, what the heck, we'll hear it out and see if it makes sense. That's an authentic answer. Now, that doesn't tell me why they want it, but it gives me a very natural version. I go, yeah, it makes sense. That's so sketchy how your phones do that. I do it all the time. You talk about something that happened with me with insurance, and all these damn people called me, and I saw the same damn ads for weeks. So it's funny that that happened to you. But let me ask you this. Obviously you guys saw it popping up in your area. You saw it online, you filled out stuff. What made you want to even look into it at all, though? Okay, did you see how I did that? I didn't ask a yes or no question. I asked an open-ended question. That open-ended question is going to kind of make them spill the beans, but in a more detailed way. So they're going to say something like, well, the thing is, Grant, is we always had low utility bills, and then suddenly it just went through the roof. Suddenly we end up paying, we were paying 150, now we're paying almost 400 bucks a month. Okay, now when they start telling you these things, every sales rep in America does what? They go, well, that's why solar is a great solution, and that's why we become the largest, blah, blah, blah. That's why solar is a great way to save X amount of dollars and blah, blah, blah. That's why most people are switching to this new CRM at a record. That's the crap that every sales rep does, and that's why they don't close deals. It's salesy. It turns people off, and it makes them hide what they really need from you. So when they start saying that, if it was solar, I would portray myself almost like the neighbor next door that's confused why they got solar. Or if I'm in technology, I'd kind of act like I work in the company, but I don't deal with any tech stuff, and I'm confused while we're doing this too. So play dumb. So if it was solar, and then I said, what made you get interested in, even want to look into it after seeing this stuff online and in your area? The bills went up, blah, blah, blah. I would go, really? Well, why do you think your bill went up that much? Did they just hike up the rates? Did you guys start using more power? Like what happened? You see how I asked it like a person that doesn't even know what's going on, but just a very basic answer? And I'm just gonna let them ramble about the problem. You cannot create a sense of urgency, guys, without a problem that is first there. You have to have that sense of urgency. So let them talk about it and then dive deeper into it. And then what you want to do is do a tie down. Okay, I want everyone to write this down. Tie downs create higher closing percentages. A tie down is a soft close. So let's say I dive into that whole thing, I go into all the details of it. And then what I would do is I'd say, okay, cool. Well, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because we don't even know if this technology is even a good fit for the company. We don't even know if solar is going to be a good fit for your home. We don't even know if this house is actually going to work. But assuming it does make sense and there's synergies, and then on the financial side of things, it's something that could increase your revenue and it's affordable as far as a yearly basis. Is that something that you guys think could potentially be a good fit? Is that something that you think would be a better option? Very subtle, very indirect. Something that they can't say no to. And they go, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's our goal. Grant, we want to cut our costs, but we just really want to be more efficient as a business. I go, okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, of course, that's everyone's goal. That makes complete sense. Okay. Now, do y'all notice my vibe, my tonality? This is how I talk with my friends. Obviously, I'm, you know, talking about other things and being relaxed, but my tone doesn't change. It's just me. When you're talking to these customers, to these potential clients, act like you. Just be relaxed. Okay. Next, pre-framing and expectations. You cannot be mad someone didn't do what you wanted them to do if you both did not agree on a specific outcome or expectation. Okay. If you're friends with someone and they do something that just irritates you, and you never set the expectation that that's not okay, that relationship is not okay to do these things, you can't be mad at them. You got to be mad at yourself. A lot of times we give this amazing presentation and we don't actually go through everything and set the expectation that it's a same day decision. And if this happens and this happens, we're signing up. And when you finish, they go, great, Johnny, can I have your card? We'll call you in 2 weeks. And then they never talk to you again. So what we did to almost double our closing percentage as an organization, this is what I did personally, is after I, went through first broke preoccupation, built rapport discovery, and I actually went into expectations and pre-framing, I just set the expectation of what to expect. I'd say, perfect, guys. So all the stuff you're saying makes sense. So what I'm going to do is run you through the basics of solar, just so you guys know how this stuff works. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is just a quick demo to give you an idea of what the CRM would look like integrated with y'all's operation. We actually worked with a couple of similar tech companies, so you can kind of have a similar outlook on what it would look like. And if everything makes sense, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. If you're a same day close, if this actually makes sense for the property and everything makes financial sense, what's cool, guys, is we'll get you set up today, which only takes another 10, 15 minutes. But if not, we'll know after today and we won't have to worry about it. Does that sound good with you guys? And it's a very reasonable ask. And they go, yeah, Grant, that sounds good. You go, perfect. So think about this. We haven't even hit the pitch yet. They like you. They respect you. They view you as someone that's credible. And you both agree that you're going to move forward today if everything makes sense. Okay. Now, this last touch before you go into your pitch is, if this was already done ahead of time, you don't have to. If it was just a quick set appointment and then you're going into a home or business, like an outside sales, I would do a quick section on credibility. I'd say, perfect. So just to know who you're doing business with, just specifically, I've been in this industry for the last 6 years. I've worked with 3 of the largest tech companies in this specific vertical and done well over $30 million in transactions. I specialize in this and this and this, and our company has quickly become the fastest growing X and X and X. So I'm sure you've seen Oracle, I'm sure you've seen Salesforce. They're actually both of our clients, and we work with large scale, but also mid-market cap companies as well. Okay, I just came up with that off the top of my head, just completely random. But what I did is I did not make my credibility, my expertise, or the things that I know a question. I want to make it clear that there's a lot of things we could talk about, but everyone in the room knows that we, our team, our company, this group, or yourself is an expert and you know what you're doing. Okay. So lastly, on these agreements, make sure everyone in the room, every decision maker is agreeing to this. All right. Next, the pitch. Okay. Simplicity is key. Okay. Stop trying to sound smart when it comes to your pitch. Stop trying to use big words that nobody knows. Stop trying to sound like a genius that's above and smarter than everybody else. If a fifth grader or someone that is not involved in the decision couldn't walk in the room and fully comprehend your product and service and go, damn, that's actually pretty cool. That's smart. Then it's too complicated. It's too complicated. The pitch needs to describe a few basic things: what your product and services does, why it does it, and how it helps them. Now, you don't sell through facts, you sell through stories. Okay, let me give you an example. Has anyone here been at a movie? It's a big premiere, and you're excited to be at the movie. You're sitting there, you got your popcorn ready, you're watching the movie. Has the movie ever stopped and go, hey guys, attention, this message is a warning. The movie is about to get really sad, so just prepare to cry in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Thanks, guys. And then start it again. No, it's never done that. Why? Because it's a story, it's a movie. It doesn't tell you that you should be sad. The story is sad. The way that the actors are communicating, the music, the scene, what's happening displays an emotion of sadness. A scary movie, it doesn't say, hey guys, it's about to get really scary. It just gets actually scary. The music sounds scary. They slow things down. Sounds are heightened. You know, if they're running through the grass or something falls, it's really, really loud and it like heightens your senses so it throws you off. These things are occurring because it's stimulating and creating emotion that their brain associates that sound, that feeling, that tonality with. Okay, so you go, well, Grant, how do I emit that specific tone? How do I create that emotion? It's pretty simple. Kind of reverse the roles. And I want you to think, how do people communicate with you when you absolutely trust and respect them? Let me give you an example of like a scenario. Let's say all of us right now were like really, really close and we knew each other. We've worked, we've been friends for years, and all of us are grabbing dinner. And the table over, they're just absolutely going crazy and they're doing all this crazy stuff and they're really disturbing everybody. We would probably look over at each other and go, man, dude, you see that lady? What the hell is she doing? I go, dude, I don't know. I think she's been drinking a lot. I mean, yeah, for sure. So a lower quiet tone kind of creates a trust because I'm not going to say like, hey, just so y'all know, like do this instead. It's a trusting tone. I'm telling you something that I wouldn't usually tell people. Your brain now associates that feeling, that experience with other people. And so when someone does that to you, your brain's subconscious it goes through all the data that your brain has and goes, oh, this is a trustworthy person. Isn't that interesting? And so if someone is very loud in your face, so guys, we got this brand new truck, it's phenomenal. I just want to let you know, a lot of people are trying to buy it. What is your reaction? You're like, oh, what is this guy trying to get? This guy's trying to get a sale. Look, man, look, I don't want to get out. We're not buying anything right now. Do y'all see how that makes your stomach feel different? It stimulates your brain in a different way. Just think about what emotion are you trying to emit and then speak in that tonality. The pace at which you talk, the seriousness, how loud you're talking. All these different things create different emotions that cause people to associate that tonality with a feeling. That feeling is going to make them make a certain decision. Okay. So it's important to do this. All right. Simple and basic. Okay. For each one of you guys, your pitches could be different times. This could be a 45-minute deal. It could be a 30-minute deal, like a demo. If it's outside sales, it might be 5 to 12 minutes. If it's something like you're in retail or it's something very quick, it may be a minute and a half and you're qualifying them and closing them right there. But whatever it is, it needs to be simplistic, sweet, and comprehensible. Okay. It has to make sense. All right, let's transition to closing. All right. Everybody, guys, I've worked with hundreds of sales reps. I get so many damn DMs a day. Grant, how do I become a better closer? My problem is closing, man. Like I pitch really good, man. It sounds like it's going good, and then I just can't close. Now, when I think of a really big closer, like in the movies, I think of this like in your face negotiation. And what I found is after being in probably over 1,000 appointments, our reps being in so many appointments and experiencing these things, is that to become a better closer, you actually have to just become better at sales, at pitching the product or service. Because if the pitch is absolutely phenomenal, if the offer is so good, Alex Hormozy says this is his favorite line, offer is so good you can't say no to it. If the offer is so good that it's a no-brainer, they're going to likely close themselves. They're they're sold. So, for example, for us in solar, I tell my reps when you get to, for us, we go through the actual proposal, like the system design, the price, the investment, the payment, all that kind of stuff, the savings, all the nitty and gritty of the actual investment. When you get to those things, don't sell. Don't sell anything. Facilitate the transaction. You want to be simple. You want to take your time, and your main focus is comprehension. I want you to look at it as a receipt. Okay. A good example for this, I'm assuming everyone here has probably bought a car. And if you haven't, maybe you saw a family member buy a car. What is the difference in the way that the sales rep communicates versus the finance manager communicates when you're signing loan documents or all the purchase documents for the car? It's a completely different vibe, isn't it? The sales rep's really chatty, in your face. They're always selling you. They have a good, vibrant personality. The finance manager is like, okay, perfect. So we got these documents for you. First, you're gonna have your loan docs right here. You got total finance amount of 39,225. You have a 5-year term with a 6.99% interest. Now remember, Grant, there is no prepayment penalty. This is also going to be a secured loan. The security of the loan is going to be the automobile. Okay, so what I want you to do is initial here, initial here, initial here. Let me know when you're signed there, and I want to go ahead and go over gap insurance. Right? That's how it is. He is not selling you on why you should get the car. That was the sales rep's job. You're here to facilitate the transaction. Okay, so you have to take control of the entire situation. Okay, now things that you need to avoid to become a good closer. If you stutter, if you hesitate, if you don't know what to do next, not only will it be obvious, but they will back out. They won't do it, guys. They will not sign up. If they're sold, and if you look, an impulse curve is basically a curve of their excitement, their interest, their focus. If their impulse curve is like this, and you're asking for the business at the peak, and then suddenly the email doesn't send, this doesn't send, that happens, what's going to happen to their impulse? It's just going to go down. So when they're at the peak of that impulse, you can say, perfect. You got to ask for the business. Okay. So typically, this is, you can do this in a lot of different ways. Like, perfect, guys. So it looks like it makes sense. So what the next steps are going to look like is this, 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 and this. So to start, what I'm going to need is this and this. So real quick, what is this? Okay. For example, our close in solar is, most of our solar deals are financed with one of our finance partners. I'd say, perfect, guys. So, when we're setting up anybody for solar, there's two things I want to really make sure that we get. One is 0 down, so you guys aren't cutting a big check. And then two, we want to make sure we get the right financing option to where you guys are financially protected and you guys can actually pay this off as quickly as you like. As long as we get those two things, we're going to go ahead and get you set up today. Real quick, what's your zip code? Cool. What's your address? Okay, cool. I know your first name's John. Could you spell your last name for me? Cool. What was your income last year? And this is me entering in the actual finance application. John, what's your email? Perfect. What was your gross income last year? Cool. What was the last 4 of your social? So it's like this. I'm like, perfect. Okay. As I'm applying for it, I'm building rapport. Boom, they get approved. I'm transitioning to it. Great. So congratulations. We actually got you approved for the best financing option and a couple things different than no one else actually gets. Boom, 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 boom. I'm laying everything out in detail. Okay. A rule of thumb is never let someone look at a contract until they understand what's going to be in that, what product they're getting, what services they're going to get, what to expect, unless they understand those things as good or better than you. Okay. A confused buyer, or excuse me, a confused potential customer is not a buyer. Confused buyers do not buy. They hesitate and they go somewhere else. Okay. Think of Amazon. Everybody here, I'm sure, has bought Amazon, no matter where you're at in the world. Think how quick you can get Amazon now. You can actually have your credit card on file and actually buy and have it shipped to your house with one click. Think about how long it takes to sign up on a lot of things. You could do it with one click. And Amazon's mastered it. That's why they're one of the biggest companies in the world. So simplicity is key. Okay. You have to facilitate the transaction. You should not get to the closing portion of the deal, however you guys do it. And then, like I said, you got to plug and play this with your industry until the customer is sold, until they're bought in. There's no point of going through all these things until they're actually sold. Okay. Next is button up. Okay. Button up is key for actually transitioning outside of closing the deal. All right. This is also important for referrals. Okay. So nothing is worse than closing and signing someone up and then inheriting a headache of problems that you got to deal with. Who here, can you think of it, has got calls at like 8 o'clock at night from a customer that you signed up, or at 1 in the morning, or at 6 a.m.? Like somebody's already raising their hand. Who's got calls and signed someone up and everything's good, and then all of a sudden, a week later, they're cursing you out, they're yelling at you, and it was because of nothing you did wrong, nothing the company did wrong, but they just didn't have the expectations. Damn, that sucks. I can remember my first solar deal. I was starting my company. A week later, or excuse me, a week after install, this lady was screaming at the top of her lungs, so mad because her system was not turned on. This is BS. And just going off on me. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, man, what did I do wrong? This is crazy. Come to find out, I just didn't know. And this is how crazy. When I was starting the company, I was literally figuring this out on my own. This is before I was doing millions of dollars in revenue. Is then the system for solar is just side information. When it's installed, it doesn't turn on that day because the utility company has to come inspect it, approve it, and give them permission to operate, which can take anywhere from a week to as much as 2 months. So if I just set that expectation with the homeowner, she would have never been mad. So you have to train your customers how to communicate with you. Okay, and this is the same for leadership, management, everything, which is another conversation. But I train my homeowners not to be annoying. I train my clients to not be annoying. I train people I do business with what to expect, when to expect it, and why. I talk about what's going to happen if something goes wrong. I talk about what happens if there's a delay. I talk about what happens if there's a hiccup. I teach them everything, okay, because I want them to be on the same page. People are cool and they can handle the truth, but they cannot handle surprises. They cannot handle it. If they know there's likely going to be delays in the typically 2 to 4 weeks, and it gets delayed 3 weeks, are they going to hate you? No. But if you're like, oh, we're the best ever, we have the fastest installs, we almost never have delays, and then it gets delayed, you're getting a bad review, they're going to hate you, and they're going to talk bad about you. That's how quick it happens. Okay. So we have to make sure we set that example. Now, this is important. If what you say, those expectations, if it is not put into writing, which I consider concrete. So if I say all these things, but it's not also in writing, you have to assume, one, that they're going to forget it, and two, that what you said means absolutely nothing. So what we did is, because we deal with all these angry customers that were angry for everything working the right way, what we did is we put up an actual button up process and a customer checklist that they would go through one by one and would quiz the customer on when they close a deal. So what would happen is we would have it listed. What happens if it's delayed? When and how can you contact us if there's an issue? What happens if there's a problem? For example, I kept having customers call me at all these late hours, blowing me up, being annoying. I was like, man, I don't want to deal with this. So I said, perfect, guys. I'm really big on communication, but realize that this is a process. And this is how long I expect the project to take. And this is how it's going to best communicate. Do you guys like phone calls? Do you like email? Do you like text? Oh, Grant, we love text, but phone call if it's needed. Okay, perfect. I'm a big text person. So let's text if there's a problem, there's an issue between like business hours, 9 to 5, unless it's an emergency. And if there is an emergency, I want you to follow this process. If there's a delay, if this happens, I want you guys to do this. So I'm setting all these expectations, how long it's going to take, what's the next expectations. And I put it in writing and I send it to them. I email it to them. I send a follow-up email on expectations. And I want you guys to give a set of simplistic, basic promises that you can immediately fulfill in the next, that day or that week. Those quick promises are going to build the credibility and trust that the consumer has with your business. So for example, you say, hey, John, I'm going to email you this tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Email it to them tomorrow at 9:15. They say, John, you're going to be getting a welcome call tomorrow at 10:30. Make sure the welcome call happens tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. If you go, John, this is going to happen at this time. Make sure it happens. That's how you build the trust and actual respect from that person, that not only that they made the right decision, but they can trust you. When you start messing up early, that's when they get, worried, they get sketched out, and they kind of go into that fight or flight mode where you start dealing with customer service issues. You want to train your customers the right way. Do not do business with people, guys, that give you headaches and waste your energy. Okay? So that's kind of the basic on the sales process. I hope you guys enjoyed all of that. So what I want to do is go through about a 15-minute Q&A. We got about 21 minutes left, so we'll go another 15 or 16 minutes on Q&A. And then I want to kind of go through a couple other things about, future workshops and different things like that. So what I want you guys to do, some of you guys have already been saying stuff. I want you guys to go ahead and start posting questions in the Q&A chat. And then I'm going to go ahead and break those down for you and start answering it. Okay, here's a good question. All right. How do you deal with an A-type personality that wants to control the frame? Okay, this is important, all right? What I would say to this is I typically call these people sharks. Okay, sharks are know-it-alls. They try to control the situation. They try to control the room. Okay, you can't beat an ego. You can't beat someone that has to have it their way or else. You can't beat a know-it-all. So what I do is use their ego, their pride, and their control against them. Okay. So let's say they come in, and let's say usually you give, 20, 30-minute presentation, whatever. And they go, Grant, hey, I'm just letting you know, man, look, we already know we're going with someone. We just need this and this and this. Can you just show me what the price is and what it comes? And if it works, we'll do it. If not, who cares? The biggest mistake sales reps go and they go, well, we have a process for this, blah, 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 blah. And the guy's like, no, we're not trying to deal with that. We're pressed for time. They go, well, so we have to follow this process. They're rule followers. And they go, all right, screw it, I'm done. And they leave. Instead, there's a 3-step process that I use for overcoming objections and dealing with customers like this. Number 1, relate, reimpulse, reclose. Okay, I'm gonna say it one more time. Relate, reimpulse, reclose. Okay, number 1, agree and relate to them. Okay, if they go, well, we just want things, I don't want to hear a pitch, blah, blah, blah. I go, oh yeah, man, that sounds perfect. I'm like, I'm the same way. I hate going through a bunch of stuff. I just like getting to the front. I'm a very direct and upfront person. So is it cool if I do that and we just get to the point? What is a person gonna think? Damn, I like this guy. This guy's more like me. He goes, man, that'd be amazing. I go, cool, man. Last thing I want to do is waste your time and mine. Okay, that's related to reimpulse. So what I've already done, I kind of sense that you'd be the case. It seems like you're just a really upfront person. I'm the same way. I've already shot, I'm going to give you the solar portion of it. I've already shot your utility bill and information to our design and engineering team. John, they're going to give us a design back in literally 10 minutes. And we'll be able to look at that and know if it's a good fit or not. And if it is, cool. If it isn't, no big deal. In the meantime, I don't want to give you some pitch that I'm not even really in sales. I just want to give you the bare basics of what to expect, just so you can actually process how this is going to work. And we'll transition to that. And if it works, we'll set you up. And if not, it's no big deal. Is that cool with you? So what do? I relate it to them, I re-impulse them, and I reclose them. And he's gonna go, yeah, Grant, that's fine. You can't be mad if you don't agree upon mutual expectations between two people, two parties, two businesses, whatever. Okay. Now, my next trick for dealing with these A-type sharp people is using a phrase, you know how it goes. Okay, write that down. And you know how it is. You know how it goes. So whatever I want them to agree with, they have such an ego that they're always right. So if you've built a good rapport and a relationship to where they kind of agree with everything you say, y'all are very similar, they respect you, they don't want to go against what they think is right because they're always right. So if I'm talking about, let's say, competition, stuff like that with other companies, I'd go, John, you know how it goes. You know, the industries has 1,000,001 startup companies, and I'm all for a small business, but the problem is people, invest all this money into them and then they go in and out of business. And you know how it goes. And so, for solar guys, you only do business with these companies because they're the only ones that have the financial backing, to operate and maintain the system long run. Did y'all hear my tonality? I just did naturally. What did I do? I dropped my tone. I said it like, look, this is just between you and I. You know this. You know how it goes. I talked to him like I was one of him. I was the neighbor next door with the same family, a nice car, family, job, whatever, that we both respect each other and we're not bullshitting each other. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, of course, Grant. Yeah, I completely get that. They're become your best friend. And if they are rude, if they're in your face, a lot of times that's just a sign that they are a great customer. Because if they're that difficult to pitch and get in the door, then nobody else can get them. And because you're so prepared and good, you can actually do that. Okay. Um, Okay, Jonathan said, how do I get over the I need to speak with my team objection? So number one, having to talk to someone else says like, I need to talk to my wife or whatever the case may be, is a mistake that we make is you don't qualify and set the expectations on the front end to get the decision makers there. Now, for some industries, they do actually need to talk to your team. And so I'll give you an example for outside sales. If an older person, for example, we sign up older people as long as they're around a certain age, but if they are of a certain age, our team is required to get a caretaker, daughter, son, or someone else in their family that helps them make financial decisions on the call, or we won't actually run the appointment. So I'll say, hey, John, like, does anybody else help you make decisions? Well, my daughter does. I go, perfect. Can your daughter go ahead and make that 5 o'clock call? Yeah, I can get her there. Perfect. I just want to answer everybody's questions. So the bulk of that, Jonathan, you do on the front end. If a lot of times when they're saying stuff like that at the end, it's just them telling you no. It's kind of similar to saying, I want to think about it. And we're going to do another sales one where we actually go through objection training and rebuttal training and process to how to get through that. But to kind of quickly, what I would do, Jonathan, is if this was just them BSing me, telling me that they don't want to sign up, I would go, cool. Yeah, Jonathan, that makes complete sense, man. That sounds perfect. Agree. And I'd go, well, let me ask you this, just for my future reference, is this something you even see yourself doing in the future? Get a yes. Yeah, of course. We need another CRM, blah, 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 blah. Two, how about the price? You guys feel like you're getting a good deal? Yes. Next, actually re-explain the investment. Boom, re-explain credibility. Boom, reclose. And then you create a process to where you do a step out, you give them 10, 15 minutes to think about it. you do a hypothetical where you offer a same-day close to create incentives. 3, you do a resize of the system or a resize of the offer to get them started with something simple. 4, you bring in another voice. 5, you do a firm reschedule. So, and that's what I want you guys to notice is what's made my team successful and myself is I don't have to think. I know. There's not a situation sales wise that I could get in where I wouldn't know what to do. I would just do it. So when I'm actually in the conversation, I'm not worrying about what to do next. I'm focusing on the energy of the person I'm dealing with. So really good question. How can I sound credible and experienced if I'm fairly new to the business? Great question. I think the fast and quickest way to do this is to not be attached to the outcome. Don't be, remember this, like if you mess up, they don't know unless you start, wait, unless you're doing that stuff, they won't know. Like if you guys have ever been to a concert and maybe the singer or the dancers, they like fall or they mess up their dance move, they like slide and spin and make it just, they don't even, you don't even notice really that they messed up. If you're giving a speech and you get off speech, but you're flowing so naturally and you're confident, you're giving eye contact to the entire crowd, you have great body language, they're not going to know you mess up your speech. So it's all about the way that you present yourself. That doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. That doesn't mean that you don't, have a question answered. For example, one of my first appointments ever when I was starting the company, I walked in there, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I just walked in there and I was just like, look, guys, there's not a question I can't answer. And if I can't answer it, guys, someone from my team will. We're one of the best in the country for a reason. All I'm here to do is see if this works. And if it is, we're setting you up. And if not, who cares? And they're like, cool, that sounds great. And I closed them and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was making calls, I was calling this person, calling this, but I did that hidden. I didn't do that in the front. It's no different than Disney World has underground tunnels all across their parks where all the characters, employees, and everyone that works at Disney World walks under those tunnels. So when you're actually in the park, all you see is the magic that's Disney World. You don't see how it's made. When you go to the restaurant, they don't show you a video of them killing the cow, chopping everything up, cooking it. No, they're just boom, you're at this amazing restaurant, the music's nice, the lighting's nice, and then all of a sudden this amazing steak appears. Think of sales that same way. They don't know. Um, look, look, Alejandro said, what I want you to do, haha, very nice, using your own script. Now that we've learned it, you can actually notice it. Yeah, you guys are noticing all my secrets. Don't expose me. But you see, it's like what's interesting, guys, is that like I just said that when I was explaining to you guys, but I wasn't trying to have a script with you guys. I wasn't trying to force you to do something. It just is instinctive for me to take control in the situation. Now, if I wasn't in control, I'd be sitting here with notes, not saying a word. So you want to subconsciously and subtly direct what to do next because it causes you to teach the person who you're dealing with and that you're in control. Okay, this is a good one. I'm going to do this really, really quick. Okay, what does a good solar appointment setter call sound like? I'll do it right now. So I go, hey, is this John? Hey, John, this is Grant with Mid Solar. Look, reaching out. We just got your request for more information on solar. And look, right now the government's giving out $8,000 to $12,000 right now for going solar. And because we're one of the largest installers in the country, we're doing things like zero down and also covering installation. Look, next step in the process, it's super simple. And what we do is we just set a remote phone appointment, take a look at the property remotely and see if solar is going to be a good fit. I got 2 spots open today. I got a 2 o'clock and a 5 o'clock. Which one works best for you? 6 o'clock. Perfect. And real quick, qualifying's easy. Just got to own the property, have decent credit over 650. You own the home, right? Yeah, I own the home. Perfect. What was your credit score last time you checked? 725. Perfect. Lastly, do you have a spouse? Yeah, I have a wife. Perfect. Is she going to be able to make that call? Yeah, I can get her on. Perfect. We just like everyone there to answer everybody's questions. So appointment's going to take 15 to 20 minutes to see if it works. If it does, we'll get you set up today. And if it doesn't, it's no big deal. At least we'll know today. Is that fair with you? Yeah, that sounds good. Perfect. I'm going to send you a confirmation text in the next 5 minutes. What I want you to do, like Alejandro said, is I want you to reply to that text message with a picture PDF of a recent utility bill, just so I can fast track the design process for you. Other than that, look forward to talking to you and your wife today at 3:30. Sound good? Oh, thanks, Grant. Have a great day. Okay, do y'all see how just I didn't even hesitate? I can do that immediately. And I don't even set appointments or run appointments anymore because I'm running the company. So you have to be that good and that quick. If they ask me an objection there, boom, I know how to answer it. I get right back on process, right? Okay, here we go. This is a good question. Would you recommend doing the entire discovery in the second call if you do a two-call close? I've been following Jeremy Miner's sales process, but trying to figure out how to split my questions across the first and second calls. Great question. One is I'm not familiar with his exact sales strategy and process. He just made one video that he was actually like basically judging one of my videos, and he said good things. So shout out to Jeremy Miner. He liked my stuff, so I appreciate it. But I'm not familiar with that. But what I can tell you is this: you're obviously going to do more discovery in the first call. That so this is what I'd say is do more discovery in the first call. Figure out, do the discovery, figure out what's driving them, what their problems are, and then set the proper expectations for the second call. The only reason I would entertain and go into more discovery, I would probably do a little bit of a light discovery and where I'm following up and maybe getting a few questions answered for the things that they had to look into. I'm going to try to think of some off the top of my head. Let's say you're in tech and they had to confirm if they needed this part or this type of technology, or they needed this type of resources, or they needed to do something to do with project management as well besides sales. I would need to know those things now, and I would get those answers on the second call. So let me give you an example of like how I'd kind of come across. But hey guys, great to see you. Oh, good. Do the small talk. And then I'd go, so I remember we talked about in the first one, and the number one, you wanted to get with your tech team and the CTO. One to kind of just overlook and seeing what's a good fit and feedback from the meeting and everything like that, what we went over. But I know also you guys were also considering looking at something, a part of the software that could help on the project management side. What kind of happened in that conversation where you guys wanted to do that or only focus on sales? Does that make sense, Lucas? So like, when I'm going into that, I'm just simply covering whatever those expectations were. But if it's a two-call close, I don't want to confuse them. I don't want to get into the weeds. And I do not, so important, do not get into rabbit holes. Get your expectations set and start facilitating the transaction, the final steps in closing the deal. Yeah, solar can work in limited sunlight. It's all based off peak sunlight hours. So like in a situation like that, as long as it hasn't, it's not covered by trees, it would we might just need like a bigger system. No different than California, Arizona needs a little bit smaller systems. Yeah, Joel. So this is so Joel, like someone said, okay, actually I'm gonna give this. This is a good one. So Joel said you answered this on live, but could you talk again about bypassing prospects saying send more info via email and cold call? Okay, when they say this, remember, don't reply to what they say, reply to what they mean. Okay. That means, hey, Grant, like, to be honest, I don't really care, man. And I'm not interested in this. We're busy in Q1. Like, I don't have time for this. That's what that means. So I need to reply, relate, reimpulse, reclose. As I said, Joel, I mean, I'm right there with you. We've been swamped as well. So I completely understand what you're going for. Relate, now reimpulse. Look, I'm going to just give you the solar one. I'd say, look, Joel, last thing I want to do is waste your time or mine. But look, the government has a 30% federal tax credit. They're giving out 8 to 15 grand right now. I have no idea. I don't want to get ahead of myself as solar even works for the home. And we can literally figure this out in 10 minutes. If it does, cool. And if it doesn't, who cares? So I got 2 and a 6. Which time works best? Okay. So it's like boom, boom, boom. Relate, reimpulse, reclose. We got a lot of questions. Um, Okay, Rain said, have you found a good first thing to say when door knocking for them to be receptive? So one, break preoccupation. Two, you have to get them to answer a question that stimulates their mind and doesn't like get them off path. So one thing I would do as I knock on the door and I'd kind of like make sure I don't have any logos and I'm looking away. I go, hey guys, I know you're busy and not interested. So they're because they were about to say, hey, I'm not interested. Hey, I'm busy. And I'd go, reason why I'm here, and then you say something that they're credible with. For solar, I would throw in like a utility company. I'd say we're actually in the area because we're doing interconnection agreements with CenterPoint Energy, where we're dropping people's utility bill 50 to 100%. Real quick, how much are you paying for your utility bill right now? So, one, I broke preoccupation where they're like, I can't say anything. Two, I said why I'm there, and I referenced something that they know and they have credibility on. And then lastly, I immediately give a question that I can control. They go, 200 $200. Great. And now you're getting in right into your pitch. Matthew, okay, this is a good question. How do you deal with people who want to talk to their spouse, partner, et cetera, before making their decision, considering that they state in their pre-screening qualifying questions that they're the financial responsible person? This is annoying when this happens. Uh, the best way to do this is one is like, let's say that's why, like, for example, in our call script, I don't say, does anybody else help you make financial decisions? I do say that sometimes if they're older, but they're more willing and open to talk. But if it's a younger guy, let's say, instead of me asking that first, I say, hey, Matthew, do you have a spouse? And they go, yeah. The reason why I ask, boom, boom, boom. Can you go ahead and get the wife on the call? Well, I make all the decisions. Be like, I hear you and I know you do. But often I've been doing this for a long time, man. One, I don't want you to end up on the couch or in trouble. But two, oftentimes, even if they're not a decision maker, they can oftentimes ask questions that are really good for both sides. And it only takes 10 minutes. Can you go ahead and just have her jump on the call? And then they're like, okay, I'll go ahead and get them on. Another thing too, Matthew, is if I get on the call and I can sense or the meeting that it's not only them, I'll ask that question again and I'll sometimes just reschedule the question. Literally right before I got on this call, we had a rep going in home and I saw an appointment update thread. Appointment got pushed to 5:30. They tried to one leg me without the spouse. I rescheduled for today at 5:30. So I mean, so my reps are trained. We don't pitch without that because you can't ask for something without getting something in return. This is gold. Thank you. How do you gain leverage or extract pain and desire on people who don't give you much to work with? Great question. It's a really good question, actually. I can tell you how I do it for solar. So, like, let's say I'm asking what got them interested, and they're like, we're just looking, blah, 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 or we're not doing anything today. What I'll do is I won't entertain it, and I assume that they just don't trust me yet. So I won't try to interrogate them. I'll transition right into credibility and establishing myself, and I'll set the expectation that it has nothing to do if you want to do it or if I want to do it. It has to do an outside source. So what we do for solar is I go, let's say they go, well, we're just looking at grant. We don't want to do anything now. Instead of me trying to sell them, I'll go, yeah, of course not. And honestly, Ryan, I don't even want to get ahead of ourselves. That might work out great. It's a misconception that anyone can go solar. Most homes actually many times aren't solar capable because of a multitude of reasons. So I'm just going to run you through the basics. Obviously, it makes no difference if you guys end up going solar. We'll hear back from the design team in 10 minutes. If it makes sense, we'll set you up. And if not, it's no big deal. Okay, so you had to do that. So Ryan, it's almost like we're playing tug of war. Get the rope back on this side. Get the leverage back. Pull the decision-making power away from them. Okay. There's a lot of good questions, guys. It's tough. Yeah, so Christian said that I'm going to answer some quick ones. What's a good sales system look like, especially one that can be used by other people within your company? Yeah, it's a script. Um, there is certain industries and sectors to where you're covering certain bullet points. But I would say the only way for it to be scalable is to control the base verbiage of it. And so, like, for example, our guys cannot touch a lead or a sales call until they know it as good as me. And So yeah, scripts, processes, sometimes outlines. You would know this better, Christian, based off of your industry. But yeah, I would script everything, but just make it very simplistic. Um, okay, here, this is a quick question. First door knock, cold call should not be longer than 4 minutes. Is that never? So door knocks, sometimes if you're breaking preoccupation, it may take 8 to 10 minutes to set the call, or excuse me, set the appointment. Maybe a little bit less, like if they have to go run and get the bill or this, that, and the other. I can just tell you from my experience, when you're scheduling appointments, don't pitch them. Don't give them information until it's actual meeting. Because what happens is, to answer your question, Luke, if you spend too much time selling, they don't even need to show up to the damn appointment anymore because they knew all the information now. So that's kind of the biggest and most important thing. Jordan, I hate to say it, man, but I've never read some revolutionary sales book. I learned all this stuff just through experience. Um, I've studied people and business and leaders, and a lot of different other books that help me learn psychology, but I just really learned through trial and error. Yeah, yeah, guys, like y'all are gonna get this recording forever. So you guys will be able to use this and watch it as much as you can. Um, but anyways, okay, cool. Let me go through a couple different things. Also, guys, if you enjoyed this, let me know your thoughts. Like if you can throw it in the chat or DM me. Obviously this is our first one. I wanted to give you guys as much value as possible. I mean, if you implement these processes, guys, I mean, you're going to be absolutely lights out at what you do. My goal is like, I wanted to give you guys so much value in return that you could literally change your entire 2024. I mean, this is stuff that people pay tens and tens of thousands for a 30-minute or an hour conversation on. Um, that's life changing. You know, it's like working hard is not going to make you guys much more money. Being better is. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that. So just so y'all know, okay, I want to go through this real quick, 2 minutes. So we're going to do these as a series. So for you guys that are managers, going to be managers, or you're entrepreneurs, we're doing a virtual leadership workshop. Okay. So I'm going to break down, guys, absolutely everything that you need to become an incredible leader, business owner, basically anything that you guys need to scale and grow your business. These things that I learned, I've gone through hell and back, 5 years straight to master to be able to scale and run a really, really successful business, eight-figure company. If I knew what I knew now, guys, oh my Lord, it would have been crazy. So that is going to be on January 26th. My promise to you guys is two things, right? I don't do courses or anything like that. Maybe I will eventually. It's not my thing. I'm literally not even a social media person. I am actively running a business every single day. I got off a meeting and I jumped right into this. Um, but that $100 investment will be worth $1 million of lifetime value, if not more. And if you, for some reason, don't like it, you can ask for your money back and I will give you your money back. Like you guys, I want you leaving this going, damn, that was freaking good. This is going to change everything for me. So if you get paid for your value, this is huge, huge. We're going to limit it just like we did on this one. Like, for example, the amount of signups, we had about double or triple the signups that weren't here because they're just going to view the recording because they're overseas or whatever. We're going to do it limited. I don't want these big. I'm not trying to make some life coach. I just want to help you guys scale and grow your businesses. I get DMs and messages from people that like, dude, I've been watching your videos and freaking 10x my income this year. It's crazy. So the link for this leadership workshop is I just shot in the webinar chat. So if you guys just click that link, you can sign up. It's only $100. And then if you don't want that, one way that you can do is just literally message me on Instagram right now and just DM me the word leadership, and I'll reply, or my team will reply with a link to get signed up. And then for any of you guys that do businesses, I'm not accepting a ton of these because I do not have the time. Like I literally cannot. If I didn't run a company, I could do this all day long. I cannot do this. I am doing one-on-one consulting to help you grow your business, scale your business. There's people that we've worked with that were doing 500 grand in revenue and now have a $5 million business over a year plan. So we will hyper scale and hyper grow your company, but also like fix problems, situations that you're doing. Now, guys, I want to be extremely clear. This is not for everyone. So if you're just like, I mean, would I work with you if you're just only a sales rep? For sure. But this is more for people that are wanting to start a company, that have their own business, that are making great money, want to invest in themselves. It's ridiculous value for what it is, and I'm not just going to work with everyone. So if we jump on or we get information and I can't help you, I will not take your money or waste your time because there's absolutely no point. So that hope to obviously see you guys. I can't wait to see everyone on the leadership stuff. These are only going to get better. Um, give me as much feedback as possible. If you don't mind, appreciate someone said money well spent, brother. Much love. Thank you, man. Yeah, guys, let me show you those two slides real quick. And if you don't mind, guys, throw in the Q&A slot right now, just like what your thoughts were, how you guys liked it. I don't care if you say something negative, like I'm gonna take it as feedback. First two slides, let me screen share for you guys. Thanks for saying that. I think it was Luke or someone that said it. The first was just a 7-step process. Sales appointment qualifying. Quality is everything. Trust your process, not people. Okay, don't listen to people. Trust your process. Simplicity and value wins. People are moved by simple things. They need to hear those things clearly and often. Scripts and processes are key. And you're not selling a product, you're selling an appointment. Scale script difference. This is just what I went over here. So everything else right there, you guys saw, and I explained through my processes and everything like that. But other than that, man, I appreciate you guys. It helped. Thanks, Grant. When we receive this recording, I don't know how long, it usually takes like 20 minutes, 30 minutes for this to download onto the cloud. So as soon as it does, we're going to send a mass email out and you guys will get it. So it'll make a big difference. And someone said worth every penny. That's amazing. I'm glad it helped, Jonathan. I'm brand new head of sales for a startup, and this is exactly what I need along with your next leadership course. Yeah, absolutely, John. And if you need anything too, like guys, also like just basic questions and stuff. I get probably 100 DMs a day. I will help you guys any way that I can. And you guys, I appreciate the love and respect that you guys show. And I've been through hell and back and learned so much. And I respect people that are trying to really make something out of their lives. So any way I can help you, always let me know. The link obviously is in my bio to sign up. I'm gonna also put real quick for any of you guys that run businesses and need consulting, like one-on-one consulting. This is very, very limited because I cannot take everyone because I don't have the time. The second link right here is for consulting. Okay, the first one is to book the leadership and management stuff. This is going to be important, especially for a lot of you new leaders. So, just curiosity, do I curse at all? Yes. I actually was almost dropped the F-bomb like 4 or 5 times on this, but I'm very conscious that this is recorded, and 20 years from now, I might see this somewhere else, and I want to sound the right way. But yeah, I do curse, but I've been working on it, not as much. Um, Oh, okay. Jordan said, this is interesting. That was awesome. Tons of value. Plan on being at your future workshops. Only question I have is that all you answering Instagram DMs, we spoke over DM earlier, which is why time moved. Yes, as of now, it's just me. I do have an admin that can send out automated stuff, but personally, I don't like my assistants and my team in my personal Instagrams just because I'm scared they could just post something crazy or tell one of you guys something crazy and then you hate me, but it wasn't me. So yeah, guys, if I'm replying stuff, it's the real Grant Mitt. It's like the Eminem song, we're the real Slim Shady sound. It's the real me. So if I'm replying to you guys, it's me. So Matthew said, I've never paid for a training ever, and I'm so happy to have been a part of this. Can't wait for the leadership. That's awesome, brother. I'm glad I could help you. Um, Us who purchased multiple courses, that would be awesome. Let's chat and talk to each other. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I don't know your name because it's anonymous attendee that's on there, but absolutely, guys. Like, look, and we build relationships. I mean, I started consulting with someone and helping them, and we ended up becoming great friends. And I've actually connected him with VCs, and he's built this big company. And so, I'm just all about helping you guys. You know what I mean? I want to see you guys successful. And I also know that we're gonna cross bridges. I mean, you guys are probably gonna pass me up, and I'm gonna need something, and we're gonna end up connecting. So absolutely. Someone said, "How do you get your jawline?" Man, I have low body fat, bro. Um, okay, this is good feedback right here. Someone said discount code for multiple courses would be awesome. Zoom bogs down. Also, maybe Teams or something would be better. Great event. Otherwise, you may want to jump ship to your company. That's funny. Joined late, but really good stuff. Bought as soon as I saw this with my last time. That's amazing, Joe. You're gonna crush it. Appreciate you jumping on. Obviously, we'll get you that recorded. Um, okay. Honestly, if a salesperson is cursing, my defense goes way up. Like they can't control their emotions. Yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah, Dan, I think, for sales, usually I don't curse unless they're cursing. And even then, I like to do it a little bit less. And I just think you always sound a little bit more intelligent if you can use words other than cursing. But know your environment. I like being professional, but I like to be authentic. CJ said first sales training I've ever paid for is 100% worth it. That's amazing, man. Thank you so much, brother. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope to see you at the other ones. Thanks for the value. I'm 28. I get a lot of free value out of your TikTok, so I'm glad to contribute. That's awesome, Dan. Well, I appreciate you joining. If you guys don't have any other feedback or anything, I hope you guys have an incredible, I guess it's Friday. My God, it's Friday at 6:45. Obviously, if you guys are in here, you're doing this for a reason. I appreciate the love and support. I got 52 podcasts coming this year. Uh, damn, I want to tell you guys some of the guests I have coming, but I can't. I got to keep it a secret. I'm gonna surprise everyone. But I hope to see you guys at the next leadership one. If you guys need one-on-one consultant, let me know. Other than that, guys, shoot the feedback on the DM. Hope you guys have an incredible night. Crush it, and wish you the best. Awesome, guys. Thank you, guys. Much love.